everybody, welcome to Taff en route. Today's away game is the FA Cup second rain tie against Wrexham, and in the car we got our old favourite Jeff Williams. I'm sure this will run for quite some time with him in the car now. And we got a newbie now, we got Jake Corbett, whose brother actually is an assistant to the kit man, so he actually travels up with the team, so his poor brother's got to put up with us and being on Taff en route. So big news to come out of Wrexham today. Sam Ricketts is not going to be taking the team for the game today, which I personally think is a massive advantage for us, but it's something that could backfire. Hopefully it doesn't get into our players' heads as much as it gets into their players' heads, because if it gets into our players' heads, they're going to think, oh, they're going to be down, we're going to go and we're going to take this today. We can't think like that. We cannot let complacency get into this. At the end of the day, they're doing well. As much as we're doing well, they're still doing well, and anything can happen in football, especially the FA Cup. So I'll pass you guys over to the guys behind me now and see what their thoughts are on everything I've just mentioned.
Chris, I gotta say, I was shocked as well this morning when I realised that Sam Ricketts has been suspended. Is that a word? I'm not sure what Wrexham have worded it. They thought it inappropriate for him to be in the dugout today. Very strange. I mean, it sends out kind of like a signal of disarray at the club, which, as you quite rightly say, it could give us a boost psychologically, players and our staff. I'm not quite sure whether it's the right thing for Wrexham to have done. I mean, they can't, none of us are stupid. We know that there's been speculation involving Sam Ricketts, as has been with Mike Flynn. But you've just got to get on with it and try and be professional. And I think whatever's been going on behind the scenes at Wrexham, I don't think they should have gone public, made such a public gesture as to do this. As you quite rightly say, it could work the other way. It could be that Wrexham players today might think, it might embolden them. They might think, well, we're going to play for ourselves. But I can't see that. I've got to be honest. It's a strange one, really, Chris, because you haven't got like a new manager syndrome, because there is no new manager. As you know, sometimes when you've got a new manager, everybody wants to play for their place. They want to play for their careers, their salaries. They don't want to be out of work. They don't want to be put on the transfer list come January. So it's not a new manager syndrome, and it's not we're going to play for the manager because he looks like he could be sacked. In actual fact, it's the opposite. He's doing well. It was really, really strange, and you would think, just looking at it, sort of, if you just look at it, sort of. With not too much sort of insight and not too much thought, you could think it's an own goal by Wrexham, but we've got to step up to the plate and make sure that we play 100%, because we need to play 100%, because they've got a good side. They wouldn't be top of the conference, as I call it, panorama or whatever it is. They wouldn't be up there if they weren't, and we've got to be on our mettle without a doubt.
End of the day, there's no way this is going to happen unless Sam Ricketts is leaving for Shrewsbury.
This is it.
Got to be it.
Let's be fair about it. To me, and I'm not a bookie, and I don't know the inside information. So as far as I'm concerned, he must be absolutely certain to be going to Shrewsbury. Now that could be 24 hours from now, that might sound like a stupid thing I've just said, but that's the impression it gives, because it cannot be any other reason why they wouldn't have him in the technical area. He must be going in.
Well, his odds dropped to 20-1 on yesterday. I know Flynn's odds dropped to 5-1 on. That's only because someone put a bit of money on him, and that's it. So it doesn't take an awful lot of money. All it takes is activity on one particular person, in this kind of situation, for the odds to start falling. Obviously, Flynn's not going to be the next manager, thankfully, but it's increasingly, looking like it's definitely going to be Sam Ricketts now. Personally, I'm not going to think about that. I mean, I might wind them up a little bit and sing a song like "Where's Your Gaffer Gone?" I'm going to give it a bit of that, obviously, tonight. But then I'm not going to think that we've won because of it. Although, if our team turn up tonight, I can't see there being any other result than a Newport County win. If our team turn up, because if you think we've beaten some of the best teams in League Two this year,
I mean, the thing is, if you look at the players that we've got, and you look at the players that Wrexham got, I mean, the pyramid doesn't lie. But on saying that, talking about playing football on papers, as Brian Clough once said to a journalist, you know, football isn't played on paper, you know, and that's it. It's not played on paper. I mean, you just don't know what'll happen on the day, and but we really should, if we bring our A game to the table, it should be a problem, shouldn't it?
I mean, if we have a repeat at the start against Met Police, we may find ourselves in trouble early on. If we have a repeat at the start against Northampton, we might find ourselves, you know, comfortable early on. It just depends on how they start the game. Although if we do start poor and we do go behind, it's not a case that you can rule this team out, because we do come back from being behind, and we have done quite a lot this season.
The thing is, we've also got to counter into the fact that they will have a very large, passionate crowd going in tonight.
Yeah.
And you know,
as will we though. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're going to make plenty of noise. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, if they, you know, if the race course is full, and you know, and they give it some noise as well. Irrespective of the, you know, the flux that the club seems to be in, you know, behind the closed doors.
Yeah.
Those players will get a lift from a big crowd. I mean, I know they get good crowds up there, but they'll probably have their biggest, well, they definitely have their biggest crowd of the season tonight. And they've also, you know, make no mistake about it, they will build this up as North v South v revenge for 2000.
Exactly the point I was going to raise.
That's going to come into it, and it will be noisy, and we just got to be very professional. You know, in all honesty, I mean, I think we're good enough. You know, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Psychologically, we're going to be. You know, we played Tottenham last year, for God's sake. We played big matches where, you know, where there's been in big stadium where there's been crowds against us and hostile towards us. So we should be able to deal with it. But it's fingers crossed. We just don't know. We keep saying we all have. Everybody got to, you know, buy into it and give 100% today. And
absolutely.
But we should be okay. You know.
Yeah.
We should be. Fingers crossed.
Then, you know, I mean, I've said the same thing when we played against teams like Bolton Rovers and Yate in the past, when we've been on the back end of joint killings, when we lost against Kidderminster in the second round. Obviously, similar, you know, sort of circumstances against, you know, a team looking for some kind of revenge against us. But then we played them a year after we went up. Kidderminster wanted revenge because they felt they should have gone up that season, not us. They finished second, arguably. They should have, but
was that the year that we smashed the Conference South? That year?
So whenever we do get a joint killing, we tend to go on and get promoted that season. Bolton Rovers 2010, Yate Town 2013. You know, these joint killings tend to end up in a good season for us. But would you really consider it, if we lost to Wrexham today, a joint killing? It wouldn't be a joint killing, because I think there's this isn't a David versus Goliath kind of situation. This is very much
no, I don't think I would call it a giant killing. No. Like I say,
especially with them being the home team as well.
They're the home team. They'll have a big crowd. Also, they as we've said, they're not a bad side. They are top of the league below us. You know, the Wrexham, it will be built up as North versus South. And there's not a massive difference, I don't think, these days between, you know, there's so many big clubs, ex-Football League clubs in the conference, what I still call the conference, and sometimes it's only a few additional players is all they want if they get them when they get promoted, and you know, so I don't really see it as a massive, wouldn't be a giant killing, I don't think.
No,
I don't think so.
It wouldn't be a giant killing, so
you know, I
mean
it's a huge banana skin.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely a banana skin.
It's a banana skin. Wrexham are going to be well up for it, with or without their manager, but I think it may get to their players' heads a little bit much. But Jake's been a bit quiet in the back there. I don't know if he wants to put his 2 cents in.
Come on, Jake.
Don't have much to say, to be honest.
Don't have much to say. Just going to leave it to me and Jeff, is it, mate?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough, fella. Fair enough. But what do you think of your brother getting his cushy little number as a kit man's assistant then?
It's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's good.
Yeah? She gets to travel with the players and all that, sit on the bench with them and everything like that, and help them out with their training equipment. Oh. Haha, look what happened. My phone holder is crap. I hope that's not stopped the video. No, it's not. Woohoo! That was... Oh. Sorry guys.
We're still
Apologies
here.
for that, we're still here. We're having some technical difficulties in a matter of...
We're still here.
Leanne's helping me out now. Rain debates for you. That's why I try to do it on the long straights. I forgot about that one bloody rain debate in Monmouth. Right, that's better. So, we're back. So where did we leave off there? So, cushy little number for Josh. Brother Jake's coming up with us now. Leanne's hiding as always, and Jeff, I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more now about the county. What I'm thinking is maybe something about the Northampton revival, considering we had such a poor game at Cheltenham. Flynn's fault, and he's admitted it. His team selection wasn't correct. Northampton, he rectified that. He started with the same team that started the second half, and that is what I said. If he starts with the same team that started the second half against Cheltenham, we'll do alright against Northampton. Worked out that way, but I don't know what it is, but it's whenever we seem to get a big crowd, the bigger the crowd, the worse we seem to do. Was what's making me worry now about Swindon next weekend. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I think I gotta be honest. I didn't like the look of the line-up against Cheltenham. I thought we were a little bit short in midfield. As we talked about before on his journeys, we're missing Scott Bennett. Obviously, Robbie was missing as well. And whilst we had Crofts on the bench, the first half it didn't look. He looked a bit lightweight. Now it didn't go to Cheltenham, so I can't comment on the performance. But people tell me it was poor. I don't know whether the lack of muscle and technical ability in midfield meant we went a bit more direct than we should have done. I don't know it wasn't there, but...
I think it's pure ability itself in midfield. I mean, Cameron Pring is more of a winger than a central midfielder. I mean, I know he's a bit of a makeshift central midfielder, like what Dan Butler can be as well. But not a starting central midfielder ahead of the likes of Josh Sheehan. But the one player who I focus on an awful lot, and nothing against him personally or anything like that, but it's Charlie Cooper. And as soon as I seen Cooper starting that and Sheehan and Crofts on the bench, I just looked at that and I thought, oh...
You know what, I don't think Charlie Cooper can read a game very well.
No.
I don't think he's got the picture in his head, and I don't think he knows where sometimes to make the runs. And I sometimes feel that, when we have got him in midfield, I think he's not working out where, players are going to run, or he makes the wrong runs, they don't see him. And with Cameron Prince is great on the left wing. I don't like to see him in the middle. But for the same reason I don't like to see Robbie Wilmot in the middle. I think Robbie's better on the flank as well. But the key thing is we've got to play with the 11 that you've got available. As you know, we've had a lot of injuries, a lot of hamstring injuries. It seems to be contagious, the hamstrings, and obviously Matty's carrying one now. But I mean, it's affected our most creative and our best holding midfielders, and I think that was possibly the problem until the second half against Cheltenham when Crofts came on, and thankfully, he's shown against Cheltenham and again against Northampton the quality that he's obviously got. You don't play for Wales unless you're quality, and the great thing is now he's coming, he's coming back into match fitness, and I think that was just all. I mean, I think clearly he admitted himself that he got it wrong, and I wouldn't say that he was like he got it tactically wrong. I think he was, excuse the pun, but hamstringed by the fact that we just didn't have the right players available, possibly to start the match. And then by the time he's put Crofts on, I mean, we're already in a bit of a problem.
We're already 2-0 down.
2-0 down.
Backs against the wall.
Backs against the wall, away from home.
And all they had to do was park the bus to take the 3 points. But then, if Mickey scores his penalty, do you think we come back and draw 2-2? Personally, I think we would have, because we would have had enough time, because we had them against the ropes at that point. If Mickey puts his penalty away, there's enough time for us to get an equalise, and obviously it's circumstantial. You don't know whether you would have or wouldn't have, but I personally feel that we would have got the equaliser. But then that's 2 penalties Mickey Demetriou has made. If we get a penalty tonight, will you be surprised to see him take it?
I'd be frightened, actually, to be honest with you. No disrespect to Mickey, but I think it would probably do him good to sort of step back from it for a while. crikey, surely Podge could like a crack at it, and you know.
I'd like to think Podge could take them,
I think Podge could take it. I mean, the young lad, if Semenu's playing, he's confident. He's got loads of confidence. That kid. I mean, he would. A lot of the time, you need confidence. I think it's like, 90% confidence and 10% technical ability.
Yeah.
And you've got people who are naturally confident. I don't want to veer off the county, but look at Pogba. I mean, no matter what people say about him, he doesn't care. He's in his mind. He's thinking he's going to score no matter what. He could probably miss 8 on the bounce, and he'd still think he's going to score. So you're really looking for people who can stand up to the plate. I know it's cliche, but they're confident that they can do it.
But the thing with Dimitri, he hadn't missed any penalties for us before the one at Forest Green. Do you think it's a matter of stopping the rot and then from then on you go back to being a consistent penalty taker for us?
It's possible. I just think. I would say if I personally say to Mickey, don't do the penalties for a while. If I can find someone, who's prepared to put his hand up and say I'll take the penalties, governor, then I'd go with him and I'd say to Mickey, look, we know you can take penalties. When there's an opportunity, when we've got the game in the bag at some other point and the clock's ticking down, you can get up to the penalty spot again and go with it because you know. But at the moment, I wouldn't burden him with the responsibility.
Yeah, I get
that.
that.
See this, Chris. You can't. The worst penalty taker of all, I always thought, was Andy Sandell.
Yeah.
Because Andy Sandell used to take a fast bowler's run up and then do a daisy cut of a penalty that would trickle towards a goalkeeper. So.
But then for me, Andy Sandell, he did put away, for me, one of the most important penalties that we would have had, and that was against Bristol Rovers in our first 7-side derby since coming back to the Football League.
I know, this is it.
So,
but, I mean. It's not very often you get an absolutely swashbuckling, brilliant penalty taker. If you've got one, you're lucky. But a lot of it is confidence. And you're right about what Andy Sandell did against Rovers. But
he tended to miss them from then. From then on, he missed them all. Yeah.
It's consistency, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It was great that the boys bounced back against Northampton and. In the midfield, when it works, it really does work. And I think I'd start with the same 3 in midfield today, and I'd play 3
I'd start with the same 11, same 11 that started against Northampton. I'd start with them.
I think so.
Tell them carry straight on where you left off.
Absolutely.
Like, you start in the same way as you started against Northampton. Hopefully, we're not going to get any dodgy linesmen giving away stupid decisions, and then we wouldn't have been pegged back that first one.
Yeah.
But then I suppose if we didn't get pegged back, it might not have put the fire in us to go and get the other 2. And we may have got pegged back later on in the game. But, like I say, circumstantial again, you cannot, determine how a game would have gone if something had gone differently. You're never going to get the exact same outcome in a football match.
I think, Chris, we've had this outside distraction. Well, we have as fans, and obviously, I'm pretty sure that Michael Flynn would say that he hasn't been distracted, but fans have had this outside distraction of the Shrewsbury thing. Yeah. And what I would really like is to get over the day, get into the third round proper.
Yep.
And I just think it's a psychological hurdle. We've got some big games coming up for Christmas. When MK Don, I mean, Swindon away won't be easy. We've got Lincoln away.
Yeah.
We've got some really big matches. And
big tough games ahead, yeah.
Flaherty coming back as well. Maybe Jake here on my right can give us a bit of info on that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can squeeze his arm or something, or maybe buy him a pint and see if we can see if we can get his lips moving.
What do you reckon, Jake? Does Josh know anything?
No.
Can we get him on the blower now? He doesn't get told much, does he? He doesn't eavesdrop anything or anything like that, no? Oh, that's a shame, innit? We could have had an exclusive live on, well, not live, but we could have had an exclusive here. We could have had, but unfortunately Jake was a big letdown. But there we go.
But I will say that I had heard that Matt Dolan's hamstring was swollen. There was swelling there. Yeah. Before he was eventually sort of forced from the field. I'm not sure which match it was now, but
yeah.
But so that was a problem. That was, I think they kind of like they had an idea that there was something wrong there with him, but so we just seem to have had really bad luck with hamstrings. It's very strange, really
Oh, I don't know. I mean, is there anything the club has done differently? It could be worth someone from the Argus asking them. You know, I mean, could well be. Like, I don't know whether they could tell us and we could put it on here, or whether, you know, the Argus could ask a question and they would answer it. We'd have to wait and see. But I don't remember us getting these injury problems last year, for the exception of Josh Labardi, of course.
No, I mean, it's. I mean, it may be that. I mean, we might need to look at the strength and conditioning at the club. Whether I don't know whether there's anybody appointed specifically for that. I know Pipey does a lot of work there, but I mean, whether he'd be better investing in a proven professional with professional qualifications. I know it would cost. I know it would cost, but sometimes when you've got a situation where you're losing players in a very small squad, well, that costs as well. So you have to factor that into it. You know, is it worth paying a few extra bucks out to get someone to keep the players on the pitch?
Could be a good investment. But we've rolled over our 20-minute mark now, so the roads are a bit choppy now, so I don't have my phone to forward again. So you know, predictions for me, I think we're going to win 2-0.
Yeah, I got a nasty feeling we might concede one, but I'd go with 2-1. I think, as we've said, you know, if they're 100% on their A game, you know, the county should be all right. So I'll say 2-1 to the county. 2-1,
Jake?
I reckon 2-1 as well.
2-1?
Yeah.
Leanne? 3-1. Oh, 3-1. Here we go. Bit more optimism. Leanne, do you want to factor in with anything? No? Shaking her head? No? There we go. So thanks for watching, guys. For those of you going, we'll see you up there. For those of you back home, we'll see you when we all get home. Cheers all, and cheerio for now, and as always, up the county. Many thanks for watching the latest content on the Amber Army channel. Please make sure you leave us a like. Make sure you subscribe for more content, both for the neutral football fan and also plenty of Newport County. Even more Newport County content can be found on the club's iFollow channel on the link above. It is just £4.49 per month to subscribe to that service. And those of you feeling extra generous can also support us on Patreon on the link at the bottom there. That would be a monthly donation of your choice. Thank you again, make sure you've subscribed, and as always, up the county.